Assalamualaikum. Today it is Thursday, 3rd of September 2020, and we are going to start our topic of theory of the firm. We know that what do we mean by firm? Firm means a production unit where the inputs are combined in order to produce output with the help of a technology. This is what we mean by a firm. So a single firm that is producing output by using the inputs. So what are the inputs of the firm? They are the factors of production. For example, raw material is required to produce the output, and at the same time it is required a piece of land to run a firm, and labor and capital, all they are combined with the help of a technology to produce output. Okay. We have different types of technologies in order to produce output. Sometimes the firm is using labor intensive technology, or sometimes it is using capital intensive technology, or it is using land intensive technology in the form of agricultural output. And the last one is the knowledge intensive technology, where entrepreneur is playing a vital role in the production of goods by doing research and development, R&D, to have more product innovation and process innovations. So inputs, they are the factors of production, and outputs, they are the ultimate result of the production. Now we see what is called the cost of production. This is expenditure on the production of goods, and this is expenditure on the factors of production, like we are paying wages, we are paying interest, a firm is paying interest to the capital owner or rent to the landowner, and at the same time it is also paying raw material prices and many other things which are paid by the firm in order to produce output. So all types of expenditures which are incurred by the firm to produce output, that is called cost of production. All types of, I say, all types of expenditures incurred by the firm to produce output is called the cost of production. The cost of production. So we talk about the cost of production. All types of expenditures, either they are on wages, interest, rent, or even the profit of the entrepreneur is also the cost of the business, cost of the firm. The firm is liable to pay profit to the entrepreneur. So it is also a kind of cost to the business. So we say the other costs which are involved in order to produce output, they can be wages, they can be interest, they can be rent, raw material, transportation, electricity charges, and fuel expenses in order to have different types of transportation of goods, and internet charges, and many other things which are involved in order to produce the output. So they are collectively called the cost of production. So here firm is paying to the factors of production at different suppliers of raw material, and here firm is receiving the revenue. Revenue means what? Revenue means the receipts of the firm after the sale of the product. Whenever the output is sold in the market, the firm is receiving money, that is called the revenue of the firm. and it can be calculated by multiplying the price of the product with the quantity sold. This is called the revenue of the firm. So what is the aim of the firm? Firm's aim is to maximize the profit. And what is the profit? Profit means the gap between the total revenue. This is called total revenue, which is TR. So it is the gap between total revenue minus total cost. All right. As this gap is increasing, then the firm will be able to maximize its profit. Firm will find that level of output where the gap between total revenue and total cost is maximized. That level of output will be called the profit maximizing level of output. So how revenue can be increased? There are two ways to increase the revenues. When firm is changing the prices and ultimately quantity sold is also changing. You might be knowing that we had studied price elasticity of demand in our AS level, where we said if demand is elastic, if a product is having elastic demand, so if price is falling, what happens to the total revenue? Now, fall in price will increase the total revenue in this case. And whenever the demand is inelastic, an increase in price will increase the total revenue. There can be other ways. Sometimes demand of the product is perfectly inelastic. So in that case, by increasing the price, what happens? Total revenue of the firm will also be increasing. And sometimes demand is perfectly elastic. Then by increasing the sales of the firm, they will be increasing the total revenue of the firm as the price is fixed. Now the quantity sold, as it is increasing, the revenue will be increasing. So revenues, total revenues can be changed either by changes in prices most of the time and changes in quantity sold, or sometimes price is fixed, the quantity sold that is increasing to change the revenue, or sometimes quantity is fixed, so the change in price will also be changing the revenue. Whereas the cost of production, the firm is aiming to minimize its cost. The firm will be trying to reduce the wage bill, to reduce the interest on borrowed money, and to reduce the rent. Ultimately, when it is able to reduce all types of expenditures on the production of goods, then ultimately its profit will be maximized. It will be easier for the firm to find out that level of output where the gap between total revenue and total cost, they are maximized. Okay, that is a brief introduction. How firm is able to maximize its profit? There are two things. One is called the cost of production, another is called the revenue of the firm. So the gap between total revenue and total cost will be called the profit of the firm. So if cost is more than revenue, then firm is making a loss, which is called a subnormal profit in economics. Whereas a positive profit, we say the firm is earning supernormal profit. Another profit which is named as normal profit, it is the profit where total revenue equals to total cost, and the firm is having nothing with it. All the factors of production, when they are paid according to their opportunity cost and nothing is left over with the firm, then we say it is a normal profit. Profit is earned, but according to opportunity cost. But if retained profit is present after paying all factors of production with respect to their opportunity cost and still firm is having the profit level left over, then it is called a supernormal profit. Now cost of production, as I defined earlier, it is expenditure on the production of goods. Expenditure on the production of goods. And where this expenditure is incurred? On the inputs. Production of goods and services. All right. So this is the cost of production. Now we will talk about how many types of cost of production are there which are incurred by the firm. As far as the accountant cost of production is concerned, in the accounting books, he is entering those expenditures which are made by the firm in the form of money. Like wages are paid, like raw material prices are paid, and all other things which are paid in the form of money, that is included in the accountant's book. There is another cost which is called economist cost. Economist cost and accountant's cost. Economist is always measuring the real cost of production, real cost of production in terms of opportunity cost, in terms of opportunity cost. Whereas accountant does not consider the opportunity cost of production. For example, in accounting books, he has mentioned wages, rent, interest, and raw material whatsoever. He is measuring this thing, raw material cost. Whereas economist is including the opportunity cost of the owner of the business. Suppose I am doing my job over here. If I start my own business, so how much will be the opportunity cost which is I am leaving for the sake of my own business? So this salary which I am receiving or drawing from this institution, that will be my opportunity cost. That will be included into the economist cost of production. If your father is working in his own firm, he is also drawing a salary because he has left over that much of salary for the sake of his own business. And if you are using your own piece of land in your production unit, it has an opportunity cost that you have sacrificed the amount of rent. So that rent which is sacrificed for the sake of your own business, that is included into the economist cost of production. And capital which you have utilized in your own business, your money which could be saved with a saving account in any of the commercial bank, you have sacrificed that amount of interest earning for the sake of your present business. So that is opportunity cost of capital. All these opportunity costs, they are included into the economist cost of production, and they are not included or they are excluded into the accountant's cost of production. We can certainly say that accountant's measurement of profits will be higher than the economist's profit level, because he is not including all types of cost in terms of opportunity cost or real cost. He is measuring only those cost of productions which are paid in terms of money rather than in terms of opportunity cost. So economists will be showing us a less level of profit earned by the entrepreneur, and if profit is less declared, then ultimately the firm has to pay less taxes to the government. All the businesses, they are including their economist cost of production in order to calculate their profit level or measure the profit. Otherwise, according to accountant's cost of production, what happens? The profit margin of the firm, that will be higher than the economist's cost of production. So if it is more declaration of profit, ultimately a high tax bracket announced by the government will be applied to pay more taxes by the firm. So economist is measuring the real cost in terms of opportunity cost, whereas accountant, you can say he is measuring only those costs of production which are paid in terms of money. You can find one of the MCQ related to this topic. how much is the difference of accountant cost and economist cost. So if one table is given in your MCQ paper, so all different types of costs are written. Along with that, there are two of the opportunity costs are also mentioned. Then that is not included by the accountant. So we are measuring them. So as a result, we will find that what is the difference between an economist's cost of production or an accountant's cost of production, or what is the gap between economist's profit and accountant's profits calculation. That's all about the different types of the differences between economist's cost, and then we talk about accountant's cost. Now come towards the different costs of production. What types of cost of production are incurred by the firm in the production unit? One could be called, here I am writing the types of costs. One is called the fixed cost of production, fixed cost. Second is called the variable cost of production. And the third one is called, we can say semi-variable, but right now I'm writing it, total variable cost, total cost of production. And then we talk about marginal cost of production. Then we will see average total cost of production, average total cost, that is ATC. This is MC, marginal cost. This is total cost. This is variable cost, and this is fixed cost. And then we talk about average fixed cost. That is AFC. And then we say what is meant by average variable cost. That is called AVC, average variable cost. So these could be the different types of costs which are involved in the production unit, or in our syllabus we have to study them. So first of all, I say what is meant by the fixed cost of production. What is the fixed cost of production? First thing, it is also called independent cost or sunk cost. So fixed cost means it is independent of the level of output. It is independent cost of production. Either 0 unit is produced or 1000, or how many units are produced, that remains fixed. It does not vary with the level of output. It does not vary with the level of output. With the level of output. So it remains fixed. Like I say, when firm is producing 0 level of output, its fixed cost is still present, maybe 50 pounds you can say. Even first unit is produced, it is remained fixed. Even 1000 units are produced, it is remained fixed, you can say. So it is independent of the level of output produced. It does not vary with the level of output produced. That is why it is called fixed cost or sunk cost. Once it is paid, it cannot be recovered. It is sunk. Like we can give you an example of the rent of the building. Either we are having 100 students, 0 student, or how much students we are having in this school building, we have to pay the fixed rent. It does not vary that the landowner is saying Now you are having a proportion of the students as a rent. We say whatever the number of students are studying in our school, we have to pay the fixed rent according to the decisions made between the school management and the landowner. So this is the fixed cost. Whenever we talk about fixed cost, it does not vary. Its diagram or its shape can be like this. This is quantity, this is fixed cost. So here it is 0. So it does not vary. It remains fixed. All right. So fixed cost of production remains fixed whatever the level of output is produced, either 0 level or more than 0 to any level of output, it does not vary. So it is called a fixed cost of production. Okay. Now come towards the second type of cost of production, that is called the variable cost of production. Come towards the variable cost of production. That is VC. No, it is dependent cost. It is dependent cost. What do we mean by that? It varies with the level of output. It varies with the level of output. You can say, as the firm is producing more output, it is going to buy more raw material in order to produce more quantity, or it is hiring more workers to produce more output. Therefore, it depends how much level of output is produced by the firm. So variable cost will be changing according to the number of units produced by the firm. So this is called the variable cost of production. As more units are produced, then variable cost is also increasing. So it's changing due to the changes in level of output. I can say it starts from 0 and like this. You can say the slope of this variable cost is constant, that every time when we change the level of output by 10 units, the cost is changing by the same amount. So this is constant sloped variable cost of production. Usually our variable cost of production is not constantly sloped. What is the reason behind? The reason behind is that the variable factors of production in the fixed factors, they are subject to law of diminishing returns. Their productivities do not remain same. That's why we can have another shape of variable cost of production, which is like this. You can see first variable cost is becoming flatter, then it becomes steeper. So when diminishing returns start, it is increasing by a faster rate, if you remember. So variable cost, when it is changing by a constant rate, then we have this shape. And if it is changing by a variable rate, like first we are having increase in variable cost by less proportion as output is changing, because the additional worker was adding more to the total output than the previous worker. And when diminishing returns started and average product of the total number of workers that is also start to decline, then variable cost is increasing by a faster rate. So it is a cubic function. If you are good in mathematics, you will be remembering that this is a cubic function of the cost of production. So we have two things in variable cost. In your O level, you have studied this shape of variable cost, but actually the variable cost of production is having this shape. Now come towards the total cost of production. Another cost which is in between the fixed and variable cost, that is called semi-variable cost. Like we people, we are the teachers of this school. So once we say the number of students are increasing to the school, what happens? More teachers are hired. In this sense, the hiring of new teachers, that is dependent upon the number of students. But once they are hired, they are paid a fixed salary. That's why we say this is called semi-variable cost. Like it depends upon the level of output, and once output is increasing, more workers, more variable factors are hired, but they are paid a fixed amount of reward in the form of fixed salaries. That is called semi-variable. So the third case, that is called total cost. So it is sum of all the cost, fixed cost and variable cost of production. This is called the total cost. So if we say the total cost is here, according to our constant variable cost, this is the total cost. This amount is called the fixed cost. Like we say, this is the fixed cost. If we say at this level of output, this part is showing us the fixed cost, the perpendicular this part, and this is called the variable cost, and here we measure the total cost. This is when our variable cost of production is having constant slope. But we have a total cost shape like this. This is the total cost. This is the variable cost. So the gap between these two, that is called the fixed cost of production. Okay. When a cost of production is starting from zero, it is variable cost. When it is starting from the upper part of the vertical axis, then it is called the total cost of production. So we are saying that there are other cost of production which could be analyzed in our next lesson. I will be drawing a table on the whiteboard regarding all these costs of production. Then you will be able to understand better about the cost of production. Till now, we have covered the three costs of production: fixed cost, variable cost, and total cost of production. The rest will be done by tomorrow, inshallah. And we will be having a detailed structure of the cost of production related to how are they changing and how are the fixed cost remains fixed. But average fixed cost is continuously declining as fixed factors are not changing, but the level of output is changing. Whereas variable cost of production is having, average variable cost is having different shape when it is constant slope and when it is having a variable slope as well. So the total cost will also be having different shapes. Marginal cost is again, it depends what type of variable cost is there, then the shapes are also changing, except the fixed cost. So how the average total cost first decreasing and then increasing. So we'll be doing them in detail by tomorrow, inshallah. So that's all for today. Today's lesson is finished. So if you have any question, you can raise your questions in the question answering session. Thank you.